Welcome back to the big board. Battle for Normandy, 10th of June, AM turn, end of the AM turn for the Allies. And I thought we would just run across the board and have a quick look, just to be a brief update, and show you some of the key movements and activities of the forces. So, besides dropping my pen and bumping all these pieces here, we can put them back. Great start. All right, excellent. I've had some issues with the maps, just in terms of the shifting underneath. I don't know why. I think I was a little too quick to setting this up. So I've had some shifts which have just been frustrating. But other than that, the maps are great. So I've taken elements of a couple of different formations and started pushing them up into this area as the Germans pulled back, because the Germans found this section here to be untenable in terms of defensive terrain and modifiers and things of that nature, and the fact that they didn't have enough units to cover that area and keep forces inside of Caen over there. So the British here have taken advantage of that and attacked pretty aggressively, knocked off, there was 2 units here, they knocked off a step, and in a secondary attack in the mobile phase, on the mech phase, they finished the stack off with armor. And now we're sort of hunkered down around the Lear units here. These guys took a step loss as well in Cagny here. No attacks on this side of Caen at all at the moment. Just don't have the strength here. I had a question as to whether I should have brought 51st up through this way and put more pressure on these forces here, or reinforced the guys that were over here, the Canadians, and there's another British division over here as well. I just can't seem to see the number right now, but trust me, there's one here. And what we've done over here is just made heavy attacks in here, inflicting a step loss and a step loss. These are quite hefty armored units and infantry units stacked together, and we've literally been doing 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 attacks with 4 units attacking here, for instance, and using the heavy bombardments from the shore, offshore batteries, I should say, from the Navy, and then lots of air applied here as well to negate the DRMs for the city. Similarly here, this attack here went in as well, and then we attacked over on this side of the map, just here on this edge, knocked out a unit here, and we're across the river just barely, only just staying in command. We're going to have to move the HQs up to keep these independent units attached to somebody and keep them in supply. So that's what's going on over here. Now, interestingly enough, with 12th Panzer, 12th SS arrival here, Germans started out pretty aggressively and were able to sort of push things back, and they actually recaptured Bayeux for almost all of Bayeux for part of a turn, but were subsequently bounced back out as the threat of the Americans coming from Omaha, combining with some of these forces here, really just made it untenable. And so once again, they're starting to see these. We did a whole bunch of attacks along here, used a lot of supply this turn to really press back pretty heavily. Over in the Omaha area, further inland, and you can see in here where the maps are misaligned, we are pressing in deep here. There's just a small handful of units blocking the way, but 17th SS is just sitting over to the left of the screen here, waiting for the opportune time, really looking to be more in defensive mode more than anything, trying to slow the advance of the Americans, who have now got 2 divisions on. The 2nd Armored is on the board, and the 29th is over here. The 1st is doing all the heavy lifting over here. Slow going over on this side. I just got to this section here on the 10th, so they're well behind the historical over on this side, but just didn't have the punching power, mainly because I made a couple of mistakes with the landing. So see that marker there is the beachhead marker. And what I had done, I was only bringing in one lot of units when actually I can go 1, 2, 3 on each of those beach hexes. So I could land 3 stacks a turn, not 1 stack a turn. So we've pushed everybody onto the map and where it made sense, giving them an extra move, but basically we're probably 2 turns behind on Omaha Beach. And similar thing over here on Utah. Things have gone a little more slowly than I probably would have liked, and we've got a bit of a sticky situation with the 2 airborne divisions, all brigades, really struggling to hold their own against the Fallschirmjäger here at the bottom of the screen, and then top left there's 2 divisions, although they're weak, pressing against the airborne, while in the distance, and we'll move the camera now. Just bear with me, I'll bring the camera around. So in the distance, right, so here, hopefully you can see that, we've got 90th and 4th Division fighting the 709th here, and some of the elements of the 91st over here, and we're just trying to grind away out on this location. Once I can take this town, then things will pick up a little bit, but all this is bocage, and they have different advanced after combat rules for the bocage. So still haven't got anywhere near Valange over here. And Cherbourg is obviously off in the distance over here. So still a lot of work to do. Now I will say that we're currently in a situation where the Americans and the Allies have actually achieved the equivalent of an automatic victory on the 9th. And we're just playing now just a couple extra turns to see what happens and what transpires, because there are a lot more forces coming onto the board. And I think mainly it was misplay on my behalf of the Germans that allowed the couple of hexes of Caen to be taken early. So we've kind of achieved the objective of getting a deeper, richer feel for Battle for Normandy. Probably not going to play too much more of it. I think there's some other stuff I'd like to get onto the table now while we're in this stay in place mode for the next week or so. So let's keep going here. I'm going to wrap up this turn, play the German AM turn, finish up the 10th, and then we'll have a chat about what we do next and whether you guys are interested in seeing more gameplay of this, or whether we should pick up something else, or maybe a couple of different games. Let's see. Talk to you soon.